This conference will now be recorded.
Yes or no? Is it clear for all?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Saurabh.
Good. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. So you took 1 hour from our sessions. I mean, your working area.
Sorry?
You took your 1 hour out from your workspace.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. So in the last session, what we discussed? Background noise. Huge background noise. Can you please check Munswami once? Yes. What we discussed in the last session? Can anyone please tell me? Quickly, yes. Quick. So no one remembered what we discussed in the last session. Only 2 days gap.
About Mule events.
Okay. What I'm showing on the screen, is it familiar? It looks familiar.
Yes.
Okay. Can you just
Yes.
give, summarize of these points? Summarize few points on the screen. Whatever you remember. Yes.
So something like how the client send request to integration layer and how it gets a response as a Mule flow.
Okay. Once the clients give a request, how it works? Assume that I have 2 processors, 1 listener. How it works right now? What my listener will do?
HTTP listener will validate the incoming request. If it is a valid one, it will pass it through Mule event, where it will look for the payload details and it will set a payload that will be passing back to HTTP listener. If it has any exception, it will throw it to exception handler section. Otherwise, it send it back to client.
Okay, small correction. A HTTP listener will convert that ping HTTP request into Mule
header
event.
and bots.
Basically, Mule event. Event contains what is the structure of an event. Why I'm repeating this again. This is very important. We have a few people new also here. So if you go through the video also, the same points will be there. But why I'm iterating? Because it's very important to know about how a Mule flow works. Still, I'm getting some slight deviating in the answers, right? So I just want to ensure everyone are on the same page. So what is the event structure of an event?
It will have Mule messages and variables.
I don't know from where it is getting a background noise. MuleSoft. Definitely from your side, I guess. Yes, now it is clear. Please check what is that background noise. Yeah, what is the structure of a Mule event? Yes.
So the Mule event structure is basically a Mule message and variables, and the Mule message basically contains the attributes and the payload.
Perfect. I think you saw today only the video, I guess. Prim?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Attributes, payload, and the variables. Right. Finally, payload, attributes, and variables. Now that is a structure that is in. Once that means that event will be propagated between the processes in the flow, right? So what type of approach Mule follows internally? Yes, what type of approach it is? Yeah. What is this? Of course, the flow contains orchestration logic. Event-driven approach. Event-driven. Everything is an event behind the processes, correct? Right?
Yes.
Now, if I want to set some value, the payload. Say, actually, my voice is not clear today. It is in a broader way. So please let me know if you're not able to understand my voice. Okay. So in that, if I want to set some value in the payload, what I have done, what is the processor I used? That means the processor is part of a which family? Transformer family. What is the processor name? Set payload. Right? By using the set payload, I just simply set some plain text as a value. Hello world is a plain text value. I set that. Right? Next, once I said that, that will become as a payload value. The event, that event is processed by next processors. Correct? Right? Okay. Now, if you want to get that response onto the console, we use a logger. Is it required? Definitely, if you want to process that the entire flow, is it a mandatory?
It's an
Logger?
optional.
It's an optional, right? So the same event will be given back to the listener, and listener is having something called responses where it contains a success body and a exceptional body. If we don't have any errors, it's a success body, right? What is the body by default in the listener in the response tab if the event is success?
Payload.
By default it's a payload which is written in a expression mode. Yes or no? That's what we have seen in the last session. Listener is given back, the listener, that listener is having responses. Under the responses, that's what we discussed on the day. Someone asked you to concatenate some string with a expression and all. Actually, we are going to see all this tomorrow, I mean today's session, right? So first, by default it will be a payload. I didn't talk about all this error response and all because it is still there is time to talk about this error response. As of now, understand this is a success event. Okay, now what is the output we got on the day? What is the output? Ultimate output I got on the day?
Hello.
Hello world. Example, it's a hello world. Now I want the output to be like this. Hello. Instead of a world, whenever my client is passing some parameter, your name is Sujit. This value to be picked up and I need to get it as the output. Hello Sujit. If the client is passing from Sujit to Kumar, it should be hello Kumar, right? Hello Sujit. Hello Kumar. How can I do that? Where I can write this? First of all, in order to get some dynamic output from dynamic input, we need to write some expression. What are the expressions? What type of expressions we are using in your Mule4? Yeah, what is the language? Data view language. What is that? Data view language 2.0 is the version, right? So how to identify it's a data view expression? I think in the last session I discussed about the syntax also. What is the data view expression syntax?
Hash brackets.
Hash and square bracket. By seeing this context, my Mule runtime is able to understand this is a data view expression, right? Whatever you write inside the square brackets will be treated as a data view expression, right? So how to get this value? Assume my client is sending request like this: HTTP, domain name, okay, and port number. By default, the port number slash demo is the path, and what type of parameters question mark represents?
Get request.
That is request is fine, get only. But what type of parameters? Or what type of header it is? Attribute. What type of attribute it is? Question mark.
Query parameter.
Query params. Yes or no? It's a query parameter, right? So if my client is passing the request in this way, this is the requirement. So accordingly, I need to extract that value, dynamic value, and I need to set as a payload. I need to set as a payload. How to write the expression? Okay, assume that this is a data view expression mode. Now first, hello. The hello is a constant, right? Any or a string. Any string, how can we write in a code? That means in a data view expressions.
Single quotes.
So someone is trying. I mean, Jani, I'm trying to do unmute. Okay. So hello is the string, and what is the next step? What is the second half of that expression? That means the output. Sujit. From where I need to get that Sujit value? Yes.
From data we
From the request.
From the request, from the URL. But
From the request
what is the
parameters.
key? Yeah. What is the key associated with this value?
Uname.
Uname is the key. Uname is, first of all, it is what type of attribute? Query params, correct? Yes or no? Query params.
Yeah.
Query params. These
Yes,
query
yes.
params are nothing but an attributes, right? In HTTP message, it is called as a header. In Mule message, those are called as an attributes. Agree? Yes or no? Attributes are part of one structure. What is the structure?
Message event. Some Mule
Message.
events.
No.
Mule
Message only.
messages.
Mule message. Mule as message contains what? Attributes and a payload. Right now, I want to extract what? Attributes, right? So now I will do the concatenation. To do concatenation in data, we use 2 plus sign, right? So what is the expression? Attributes first. Sorry, 1 second. First, message dot represents a reference. In that message, I have attributes and payload. Right now, I want to extract attributes. So I will take attributes. In that attributes, I can have a list of attributes. Out of that, my client is passing what? What I need to extract? What type of attribute?
Query strings.
Query param. Query params is the parameter. So in that query params, what is the key?
Uname.
Uname, right? So is it not an expression? It is an expression. Now, what is the data type for this expression? Can you say?
String.
How can you say that?
It's a word, right?
As a developer, you know, because you are going to write it. How my runtime will understand that?
Okay.
Got it? So, heard about typecasting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. We need to typecast as string. Whenever you're concatenating an expression with a string, and you know that after evaluating this expression, you are going to get a string. So that's what we are assuring that to the runtime. In other layman language, we are simply telling to the runtime, after evaluating of this expression, you are going to get a string only. Please allocate some memory for this string data type. That's it.
Just to avoid the exception, right, Sujit?
Exactly.
Okay.
Can I write this expression here? Where I need to write this expression? In a set payload. I am trying to set this. After evaluating this expression, I want to set that value as a payload value. Got it? So let me switch to expression mode. Right. What is the expression I need to write here? Yes. Single quote. Hello. Yes. You need to guide me. Next what?
Displace message dot.
2 plus sign. Message. MESS control space. Write 3 characters and use intelligence window will work. Message dot. See, in that message, I will told the structure. What is the structure? Payload and attributes. Right now, I want to extract what?
Attributes.
Attributes
Query
dot
params.
query params dot. See, by default, you will get a name here.
Yeah.
Okay, please ignore that. And what is the answer?
Uname.
What is the name? Sorry. What is that?
Uname.
Uname. Let me write that. Uname. Uname as
String.
Save it. Again, immediately save it. Right? So can I deploy this application and see? If I want to use a logger, I can use a logger. Just let me use a logger here. I'm switching to expression mode and I'm writing a payload. Payload means what? It's a keyword in a data view. So what's happening here in the console? Yeah, what's
Compiling
happening?
and executing.
Compiling, no, not
Starting.
compiling.
Starting.
Building. It's a
Building.
building as a, what type of project is my project? I asked you to go through Maven.
It's a Maven project.
Anyone gone through what is a Maven?
Build tool.
It's a build tool and which is having some repositories. What is the main file for Maven?
XML.
Pom.xml. Pom
Yeah,
is
Pom.
project object model which contains some dependencies. If your project contains, I think in the last session I didn't explain about this folder structure. Is it? Did I explain?
No.
Okay, that's fine. First I'm getting this response, then I will explain about that. So this is the expression I got. I deployed it, right? Let me give a request to the client. So what is the request I can write from the as a client?
Localhost.
Localhost.
/demo.
Query parameters.
Some name.
Uname equal to
Some name.
Am I getting a response? I'm just deleting the Sujit. Kumar. Am I getting a response for Kumar? Yes. Okay. Next. Before that, let me explain the structure here. So what is a Maven? What is a Maven? Why we require that? By default, all projects in Mule 4 are Maven projects. So assume this is my Mule application. It's a Mule application means it's a Maven project. What is the main file for a Maven?
pom.xml.
Pom.xml, which contains what it contains. It contains every project will be uniquely identified by two factors. What are those? Artifact ID and group ID, right? Group ID is nothing but your domain name. Artifact ID is nothing but your project name, right? By using these two parameters, it will be identified. That means any project will be uniquely identified. After that, you can see some dependencies in your XML format. In the pom.xml, you can see some dependencies. What are the dependencies? Example, assume that there is a MySQL. Okay, it's a product database vendor. Now it is released a new version called 1.1, right? Now I want to use this MySQL 1.1 connector, I mean that version in my Mule application. So do I require these drivers, 1.1 version driver, right? I need to add to my project that library. So how to add that? How to get that 1.1 into my machine? I mean Mule application. You need to add that as a dependency. What is the connector you are searching for and what is the version you are searching for? All you need to describe in a dependency. Once you have that in a dependency, when you try to deploy the application for the first time, it will check in your local machine. Is that repository is already available on your machine or not? Where it will be stored? .m2 folder under your C drive users / username. Under that you can see .m2 folder. In that folder you can see the repositories. If at all it is available, it will fetch from there. Otherwise, it will search some place. Where? What is that place? Maven Central Repository. It's a product owner responsibility to keep that drivers. That means that related drivers, whenever they released a new one, it's a product owner's responsibility to keep over there, right? Whenever my application is trying to deploy, first it will check here. Otherwise, it will go to the central repository and it will fetch that related drivers here, and it will be stored in the local repository again. Next time, if I try to deploy, it is available. It will fetch from here. No need to go to the center. So see, I'm giving an outline of a Maven, but that's the reason when I'm speaking all this. If you want to connect to that, that is the reason I asked everyone to go through Maven, at least the basic stuff. Okay, Maven is a very big subject again. Okay, this is enough for our sessions. Once you understand Maven, my project is a Maven project, I said, right? Whenever you create a Mule project, by default, you will be getting a 2 modules as a dependencies to your Mule project. What are 2 modules? HTTP and socket. If you go to form.xml, as I said, every project will be uniquely identified by group ID and artifact ID. Group ID is nothing but your domain name, and artifact ID is a project name. At the same time, you can see some dependencies. How many dependencies I have as of now to my project? This is how many I have?
HTTP
2.
and
Two
socket.
dependencies. Two
HTTP and a
dependencies.
socket by default. Why they have given HTTP as default? Any reason?
To access the application or something. HTTP listener.
That's a protocol. We must need to interact with other things.
We can use JMS also, no, for that. So the point is, what is our Mule application? What is the web service we use in order to expose your application as an API? What is the easiest one after 2 web services? And which is the new and which is complex one?
So
This
and
is the
rest
easiest one.
is a complex one.
No, REST or SOAP?
SOAP is a simple one.
Oh.
Simple one.
No, you're telling it reverse. SOAP is a complex one, right?
Yeah, SOAP is complex.
For him
Because
it is, for Srinivas it is easy. SOAP and rest is hard.
so why it is
Chandra, I
complex?
don't know them both.
Why it is complex? Very simple. If you want to perform any small arithmetic operation A plus B in a SOAP application, you need to wrap up that in a SOAP body, headers and syntax, everything, entire complex structure you need to be create. Yes or no? For every small expression also. And what is the standard format for SOAP? XML. XML. Yes or no?
Yes.
If it is not aware, that is not acceptable as of now, because and the first day only I told need to aware of what are web services, because our Mule application is going to expose as an API. At the same time, our application is going to consume a third-party APIs. So you need to know what is a SOAP, what is a REST as well. Of course, my application is going to expose as a going forward. My applications are going to expose as a REST applications. What is the official protocol for REST application? HTTP, right? That is the reason by default they have given HTTP as a module. So it's not a mandatory. It's up to you whether you want to keep it as a dependency or not. If you don't want, just go to the Mule palette and you can remove like that, right? So by default they have given. So first, what is this folder structure? SRC main Mule. SRC main Mule. You can see the flows in the bracket. That means by default one XML will get created with the project name. On that day I shown you how to rename that as well. Once you rename that, which contains some, it's a canvas, we'll call this as a canvas, which contains 3 tabs. Message flow, where we can drag and drop the graphical representation. Simply it is called a graphical representation of the flows. And global elements, I will talk about that practically. And configuration XML. So whatever you write in the message flow tab, immediately it will be updated as a XML format. So what is the language, what is the framework it is using here?
XML, right?
It's XML only, but what is the framework is using, and what, first of all, my Mule applications are what type of applications behind the scenes?
Yes,
Java.
Java applications, right? Okay, in that Java it is using one framework. This XML is about one. This is the namespace which contains some logic behind the scenes. Okay, every tag is a namespace here. So what is that language?
HTTP language.
No. It's a Spring framework. Spring. It is using a Spring as a, it's a framework it is using to create. So that is why one of the prerequisites I told to have some XML knowledge. By seeing that, if you don't need to know Spring, by seeing that at least you need to know it is a parent tag, it's a child tag. So just to identify, you are not going to read anything. Just you need to drag and drop onto the canvas. Automatically it will be updated onto the XML, right? So So this is about your canvas and XML. How many XMLs I can create in this flow, in this project? 01 basics. If you go to the hierarchy, you might have observed that.
Yeah,
How many?
number.
Is there any restriction? No. N number XML files, right? In each every XML, how many flows we can create? Again,
In number.
there is no cap, right? Flows are nothing but a methods. If you are from object-oriented program or functional programming, please treat that flow as a method or a function. What it is doing, it is accepting the input. According to the input, it executing a logic, some logic, and it is returning some value. Method also will do the same thing. Based on the input arguments, it will execute a code, block of a code, and return some value. Same thing. So that is why flow can be called as a method or a function, right? Okay. Next, SRC main Java. See, as a middleware person, if any Java developer has given a class to you, and if he asked you to consume the methods present in that class, so the class file you can place under SRC main Java. So I will show you how to use the static method and how to invoke a non-static method. All this stuff we'll see by using a Java module in Mule. And SRC main resources. If your project is dependent on some external files like JSON file or XML file, any other files, going forward we are going to see many. That if your project is dependent on that, then definitely you need to place under the SRC main resources. These three are for a development environment. This next three are for testing environment. If you want to write any test cases for your Java class, then you can use a Java. I mean, what is that framework? JUnit framework to write some test cases. Okay. And SRC test resources. In the testing environment, if you have any dependency files, you can place under that. And SRC test MUnit. If you want to write any test cases by using an MUnit framework for your Mule application, you can create one suite and you can write tests under that. And HTTP and socket use, I told you, the modules by default will be added. And JRE. Why require JRE here? Why require JRE? Behind the scenes, my applications are Java applications. Assume that it got developed, and if you want to run that application, we required JRE, Java Runtime Environment, and Mule server. Yeah, embedded run, which comes along with your studio. That's why it is. See, you can see it is pointing to internal as a plugin. r.mule.tooling. Okay, so which is part of your Anypoint Studio. And Mule Server 4.3. Who selected this 4.3? Did I select this 4.3 as a dependency to my project? Did I?
Yes, we did.
When
When accessing Anypoint Studio.
that's what. When I'm creating the project, there I selected this project to be deployed on a 4.3 runtime. Okay, that is why it is also added as to your build path. This path is called build path. Okay, and I shown about a prom.xml as well. Now this is the canvas which I explained, message flow and configuration XML. So from where you can drag and drop all this? From Mule palette, which contains two columns, right side and left side one. Right side one is like a menu which contains search and exchange, add modules. So if you want to add any module to your project, which is at Anypoint Studio level, click on add modules. These all are the modules which are frequently used modules are given along with the studio. So simply suppose I want to add a database module, simply add this database module here. That means drop here, drag and drop the connector here to add to the project. So on the left side, are you able to see the database module by default? No, right? Let me drop on this blue space. Is it added here? You can see. Yes. Will it be updated in your pom.xml? Yes, connector, HTTP socket, and DB connector. See, it is added. Have you touched this pom.xml? No, right? Okay. So if you want to remove, we cannot remove from here. We can remove straight away from here. So automatically it will be deleted from the build path, and it will be updated in your pom.xml also. Right now, I'm able to see only two dependencies. Got it? Next, favorites. Very frequently used components are given in the favorites. Okay, never I use that because I'm very lazy. So I will go to the search in palette and type for with the keyword. Whatever the connectors I have with that keyword, I got it here, right? And core. all the business components where I can write some logic are given under this core. So set payload is a transformer, I said. Now you can see under the transformer I have a set payload, right? And HTTP and the socket are modules given to the project, right? Now, what is such an exchange? If any module which is not available at your studio level to add to your project, then you need to have an exchange account, any point platform account. That we will see in our coming sessions. Very few coming sessions. Okay, this is what about the structure of your AnyPoint Studio. Then I start writing a listener. I drag and drop the flow, and I have written a listener, and I have written a set payload and got the plain text message as an output and a dynamic expression as an output. One more expression I will show you. So what type of parameter it is? Yes, what type of parameter it is? First of all, what is this? What I selected here? What can I know? What is this?
URL.
URL, right? URL contains what? What type of parameter?
Query parameter.
Question mark represents?
Query parameter.
Both are no, right? This what I selected is what? It's an
Path parameter.
URI parameter. URI parameter. Yeah, URI parameter. Okay. How to extract this value and I want to pass it as an URI parameter in my set payload instead of query? Very simple. Instead of using a query parameter, what I can do? Can I extract as a URI params? Yes. But where is this uname? In the query parameter, in the URL itself, I have a uname so that I can get the value, Sujit value by accessing that uname. But where is the uname here? Yes, there is a uname. So all the URI parameter only values to be passed. Now, corresponding uname, that means corresponding key should be written in the listener path. So all the URI parameters in the REST application will be right in this way. Two curly braces. Now, this pattern, what is there in the listener, is it matching with the pattern? Yes, right?
Yes.
So this is the path. Actually, this is the path. That's what I have written in the listener path. If the pattern is matching, this flow will be triggered. Suppose assume there is one more flow with /demo. Which flow will get triggered? I have one more flow in the same XML and that path is /demo. Which one will get executed?
Both. This one will execute because demo is there.
Demo, but perfect, because this path is matching. This path is matching. If I write /demo, that is partially matched. So this what happened to this one then? So this pattern should match with the incoming pattern. Then only it will be triggered. So right now, I think uname, right? Uname. So uname, this is the key. This is the value. So can I extract that value by using this uname? And I'm setting as a payload value. Yes or no?
Yes.
I just deployed this application. I just restarted. That means just save it. Automatically it restarted. In the last session we discussed. So let me give a request. So am I getting a response? Yeah, dynamically changing the output, right? So you understand how to extract a query parameter and how to extract a URI parameter, right? Now, is it AnyPoint Studio is with you right now? With everyone? AnyPoint Studio. Is it open?
So Jit Prem here. I've not installed it.
Okay.
Download
Okay, who are not having AnyPoint Studio, based on our conversation right now in this session, you can write it in the notepad also. Okay, I want, say, please take it this as a task. By tomorrow, I want everyone to be completed this task. So what is the task? This is the ultimate output I want out of the application. What is the output? Maybe I'm using the same statement for all the batches. I am Sujit from city Bangalore, state Karnataka, and country India. Okay, very simple output, right? First, Sujit value and Bangalore value. I want you to get it from the URI params. This Karnataka and India, I want you to get it from the query params. Right? So, in order to get this output, what is the expression you are going to write? First of all, what is the client requirement? What is the client how the URL is going to give? All right. And since you are using URI parameters, what is the configuration you will do in the listener path of a HTTP listener? So this, can you start, guys? You can write it in the notepad also. Whenever you complete any single statement, please put it in the chat box. I will validate it. Hope everyone understood the requirement first. Understanding the requirement and gathering the requirement is very, very important. Then only you will be in a same track. That means right track. If you understand the requirement in different, you will be going in a different way. Hope everyone understood the requirement here. Yes, no.
Can you explain once again?
Well, okay. So I want the client body on the postman. The output client body should be displayed like this. This is the expression. I am Sujit from city so and so, state Karnataka and country India. Okay, this is the statement I require. So these values, Sujit value, Bangalore value, I want you to get it from the URI parameter. Okay, and the state value and country value, I want to get it from the query parameter. Okay, so what is the expression you are going to write for that? And in order to send a request, what is the URL you are going to send from the postman? Since you are extracting the URI parameters, what is the listener path?
Okay. Okay.
Very simple. Please try it out. Why I'm giving some time to practice on this, because going forward we are going to use these expressions multiple times in our program. Can anyone want to switch your screen so that I can help you while you are practicing? Anyone want to present your screen? Yes, yes. No one ready? First of all, who are writing on the any point student, who all are writing on a notepad? Yes, yes. Okay. Meanwhile, I will also write. Okay. You just write on your own. Okay. Don't switch my screen. I'm not going to explain. Okay. Please write it on your own. No one completed. No one completed. Or else completed and not showing. So I got the output here, you can see.
I don't see the payload.
Pardon?
I don't see the payload component.
Payload component I'm not showing purposefully. I want you to write that. In the payload, the expression you need to write it. Tomorrow I'll show that expression. Any which ways it is recorded. While you are practicing also you can see that. Okay. But try to understand what I'm trying to do. Got it? Once you understand that, please think out of the box. Right?
Oh, my ID is not showing this component.
Set payload component.
I don't have this flow showing. This API kit consoles. How to showing this how to open this?
Given as a present access, please show me that where you're facing a problem. Okay. Type in palette, search in palette on the right side. Palette. Up. Search in palette, there only. Down. There is search option, right? Under the Mule palette.
Yeah.
Yeah, type over there.
Search what?
Set payload. You want a set payload, no?
Oh.
So not followed my last video also then.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So what should I do now? I double click is not the.
Drag and drop on the canvas.
Oh, right. Okay.
So please watch the videos carefully. You will understand all this.
Okay. Sure.
I'm switching back to my screen. You just need to follow the basics. Enough. It will come.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyone completed, guys?
Sujit, I'm trying to do a environment setup. It seems like my Eclipse is not supporting Anypoint Studio. So what do you recommend here?
Eclipse, how it is related? I mean, you are adding as a plugin. Anypoint Studio as a plugin
Yes.
to your Eclipse?
Yes.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Sometimes
Okay.
the dependencies may add, may not be adding for that. So we have a straightforward application, Anypoint Studio, to create your Mule applications. Why we want to use a third party again?
Okay.
Straight away use this Anypoint Studio only.
Anypoint Studio.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
here
if
it
you
is.
want, as I shared the documents earlier in the previous batch when you was attending that session.
I lost all my memory from that batch.
Oh, okay. Okay, I can share the documents only if I, if the payment is done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So in that we have our softwares, the documents, and everything. Apart from Saurabh and Vishnu, everyone Prem, I think you got that. So everyone got the documents and recordings access.
No, I didn't get a recording access.
Recording, is it given right? On the day only given. What is your mail ID? Can you please share me one more time?
Sorry,
What is your mail ID? Gmail ID, can you please share?
email? Oh, sure.
so this 1.6 gig, I mean, if I'm trying, I mean, I'll be making the payments as well. But for the environment setup, I need to download that particular installer from the MuleSoft site, right?
Directly go to the website and just browse as a Anypoint Studio download. Open the first
Okay.
link.
Right.
I
So it's
shown in my
1.6 GB, right?
not 1.6, 7.6.
7.6.
Anypoint Studio versions are 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, 7.8 is the current version.
No, I'm asking about the size. It's showing 1.6 GB.
Only one. You will be getting only one. I not seen any time this says GB of the size. I mean size there. I'm not exactly sure about that.
Okay.
We will be getting only one file once you click on the download.
Mhm.
Yeah, approximately 1.6 only. I think so.
I mean, I remember from during last batch, it was on my tips, but now whatever you're talking is like all
New.
new.
That's better, no? You are listening with an empty cup so that you can easily understand without any back
Yeah.
knowledge.
Seems like you're talking in different language.
Pardon?
No, nothing.
Is someone trying to speak?
Sujit, sorry, Premier. I've got a meeting in my office, so I have to just go now.
Yeah, please.
I'll watch the rest of the video, and if there is
Sure,
anything,
sure.
I'll just.
Yeah, I'm also
Thanks,
almost
Sujit.
done. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sujit, please share the video.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah, I was away for the class for almost 20 minutes.
Oh, definitely, yes.
So, Jason, what will be the next course? Same time?
Same time, same time.
But in our in Canada, the time just changed to daylight saving time.
I can understand that, but I am fully packed with the front and back with the schedules, admin sessions. We cannot change the time for that.
Mhm.
Johnny, S should be capital while you are writing a string. S should be in capital. Apart from that, everything is fine.
So, if you can listen to my voice, no problem. No.
I can hardly hear, but I'm habituated to that now.
Oh, it's, okay. Okay. Try
Yeah.
some.
So I'm stopping the recording, guys. So please follow